Hello my friends, my name is Catherine and I recently had a request to show how I do my pop-up box on plain paper because the last time I showed you it was on pattern paper and you couldn't see the marks, which makes total sense to me and I'm really sorry about that. So I've got a bit of yellow cardstock here and we're going to try this again. Alright. So we've got our yellow cardstock, and this yellow cardstock happens to measure 9 inches by 8.5 inches. So the first thing that we're going to do is just take and draw a line right at the 8.5 inch mark, which reduces this space by 1/2 inch. And then we're going to draw a mark at halfway through this space, which happens to be 4 1/4 inches, half of 8.5. There we go. And that should be it for the straight lines. So we will set our scoreboard aside. Now I am using a plastic lid off of a hot chocolate container today to make my rounded parts. I don't remember what I used last time, but this will work just fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and line it up, just eyeball it to the center of this space, this 4.5 inch space. And that's center from side to side. It doesn't matter from up to down. And then what we're going to do is once we've got it in the center, slide it right up to the edge of the paper so that it just comes up to the edge of the paper here. All right, centered and lined up with the edge, and then trace around it. Same thing for the next 4.5 inch space over. Line your round thing. The only thing you have to remember about the round thing is that it has to be bigger than the space. This is just bigger than the space. It's about maybe 1/2 inch bigger than this space, so it's not ideal. You actually want it to be a bit bigger than that even, but this is what I've got to hand at the moment. So I line it up to the center and bring it right up to the edge of the paper and trace around it. There we go. So now I've got two partial circles, and they meet right there on that line, or at least they should. Then we're going to do the same thing to the other ends of those 4.5 inch spaces. So just line up the lid to the center and move it as close to that edge as possible and trace around it. There we go. And again, this side, line it up to the center, scoot it up to the edge of the paper. Make sure that it's actually centered. I got it off center there, but whatever. And then trace around it. All right. Now here's the part where I think people get confused. What you are trying to do is make an ellipse. So you need to make the edges of this round bit meet this point here and this point here. So if I take this and I just kind of center it on this 4 inch piece and just slide it up so that that edge meets there, but that doesn't meet there, so I bring it a little more to the side and just make that edge meet that spot and that edge meet that spot, and then trace it so that those 2 points meet. And then do the same thing for the other 3 sections. Take and make the points that we have already established there and there meet on the edge of our round thing and trace. All right, 2 more. That point and that point now. So slide it up, make those 2 points sit on the edge of the round thing, And last one, that point and that point. Take and make those 2 points sit on the edge of the round thing. And there we have it. Now, time for the scissors. We are just going to start cutting along the outside edges of all of those round pieces. There we go. Just cut to the outside. And then when you get to this part, this tab, I like to cut it off downward at an angle because I don't want it to be sticking up above this section when I folded it. And if you don't do that, you'll see what I mean. You'll be able to cut it off afterward. It'll be fine, but you'll see what I mean. So I cut that one at a downward angle as well, and then continue cutting these sections on that curve that we drew. Go down to there, and then up and around, and down to there, and then we can toss these scrap bits of paper aside, and we are almost done. We are going to fold this tab, this 1/2 inch tab over on that line that we scored, and then fold this section over to meet that tab. It should also happen to fold on that score that we made because we halved that section. So those two should be equal, and they are. Excellent. Then what we're going to do is take our double-sided tape and put it on our tab. Go all the way down and trim that off. And then pull up the backing on our tape and close this up. Now, there we go. We are very nearly completed with this. We're going to take and pinch it from side to side so that it pops open and press in on that half circle, the inner half circle mark that we made. We cut the outer one, now we're pressing in on the inner one, trying to get it sort of even. And then do the same thing to the other side. Press in on that inner half circle that we made. If I can get it, this is always the point that I have the most trouble at because I always forget to score it well enough. Let me pop out that other end, see if I can't reach through. It's too small to fit my hand. I have fat hands. Let me use the end of my pencil. Just trying to create a crease on that line. There we go. That's what we want to see. Okay. All right. And then we can push back in the other end that we have already folded and fold down the other sides. Sort of, kind of, maybe. Go. And there you have it. A pop-up box. If I'd taken the time to do the circles, the creases in the circles better, that would be a much smoother line there. And I can sort of smooth it out now anyway. It's just if you do too much on paper, it doesn't like it. But there we have it. A pop-up box, which was hopefully easier to follow this time. I will see you guys all later, and remember to subscribe. Bye!